As fun filled the skies in celebration of American independence, it was a Filipino-American voice that set the tone for the day. The Voice, Season 26 champion Sofronio Vasquez opened the 4th of July festivities at the Belmont Derby Invitational with a moving rendition of America the Beautiful, captivating the crowd just moments before the prestigious horse race commenced. Vasquez took to Facebook shortly after the performance to share a clip of the moment, with a caption, "The rendition of America the Beautiful by the Voice winner Sofronio Vasquez sets the stage before the Belmont Derby Invitational at Saratoga. Happy Independence Day, America." But it's also this month last year when his life's trajectory started to shift in the best possible way. "Exactly 1 year ago, I stepped on the Voice stage for my blind audition," he recalled in an Instagram post with some photos of him in the competition. "At the time, it was still confidential that we were taping until season 26 was scheduled to air on TV, which greatly intensified my anxiety about advancing without being able to share the news publicly." Little did he know then that he would go on to win the entire season, earning praise from industry icons along the way and becoming the first Filipino and the first Asian to win the international singing tilt. "What an incredible journey it has been," Vasquez added. "I am grateful for the people I have met, most notably Michael Bublé." His message concluded with words that resonate with dreamers everywhere: "Never stop dreaming and keep working." With his upcoming headlining concert live in New York, just around the corner, set for July 19th at the Town Hall NYC with musical director Troy Loretta and special guests, Vasquez is showing no signs of slowing down. He's been flying in and out of the Philippines for shows and concerts. It has been a full year since Sofronio Vasquez, a soulful singer with an undeniable passion for music, claimed victory on The Voice. The experience, which catapulted him into the limelight, has since transformed his life in ways he could never have imagined. As the year passes, Sofronio finds himself reflecting on the journey, from the nervous contestant stepping onto the stage to becoming a household name, and now a beloved artist with a growing fan base. The path he has walked since his victory has been nothing short of a whirlwind, and one that he could not have navigated without the lessons, growth, and personal transformations that came with it. Now, a year later, Vasquez takes a moment to look back on his win, the challenges that followed, and how the experience of being on The Voice reshaped not only his career but his outlook on music and life. The audition. The first step of a dream. Sofronio vividly remembers the first day he walked into the audition room. He was a relatively unknown artist with big dreams but little to no exposure. His background, rooted in the humble music scene of his hometown, had not yet garnered national recognition. The auditions for The Voice represented the first real opportunity to prove to himself and to the world that his voice was something special. Standing on that stage, the nerves were palpable, but his love for music was even more powerful. "When I first stepped onto that stage, it felt surreal," he recalls. "I'd watched the show for years, admired the artists who'd made it through, and suddenly I was standing there with my own chance to make it. I was nervous, but I was determined to give everything I had." What came next was a moment that would change the course of his life. His soulful rendition of a classic ballad moved the judges, and one by one they turned their chairs. As the coaches fought for his attention, Sofronio realized that he had the kind of raw talent that could resonate with people on a larger scale. This was his moment, and it was just the beginning. The Voice journey, trials, triumphs, and tribulations. The journey through The Voice was a mix of triumphs, struggles, and unrelenting hard work. Sofronio's experience wasn't just about singing, it was about growth. Every performance brought new challenges. The rehearsals were long, and there were moments of doubt, but each time he stepped on stage, he pushed himself to be better, to connect with the audience on a deeper level. "I learned that this show wasn't just about being a good singer, it was about being a complete performer," Sofronio reflects. "It was about owning the stage, connecting with the audience, and truly giving myself to the music. I learned how to bring more than just my voice. I brought my heart, my story, and that's what made the difference." Sofronio's performances were nothing short of spectacular. He quickly became a fan favorite, his soul-stirring renditions of ballads and heartfelt performances solidifying his place in the competition. But despite his vocal prowess, it wasn't always an easy road. The pressure to perform at the highest level every week, while competing against some of the best vocalists in the country, weighed heavily on him. But each challenge only fueled his determination to succeed. He credits his time on the show with helping him push past personal limits. "I'd never been pushed like that before. There were moments when I felt like I couldn't do it, but I kept going, and I think that's what this experience has really taught me. You can do so much more than you think if you keep pushing through." The finale. A moment of victory. When Sofronio made it to the finale, he was no longer the nervous contestant he had once been. He had transformed, not just as a performer, but as an artist. The finale was an emotionally charged moment, one filled with joy, nerves, and excitement. As he sang his final number and waited for the announcement, he couldn't help but reflect on how far he had come. The victory, when it came, was a mixture of overwhelming emotion and disbelief. "It was the best feeling I've ever had," he admits. "I had dreamed of that moment, but in the back of my mind, I had never fully allowed myself to believe it could happen. When they called my name, I was in shock. I looked out into the audience and I just felt so grateful." Winning The Voice was not just a validation of his talent, but also a confirmation that his voice, his story, and his dreams were worthy of a larger stage. It felt like a dream come true. But as he quickly discovered, winning The Voice was only the beginning of an even bigger journey. The aftermath. Building a career beyond the show. A year after his victory, Sofronio reflects on the whirlwind that followed his win. The offers for record deals, performances, and collaborations came pouring in, but he knew that sustaining a career after The Voice would require more than just the momentum of his victory. Winning the show was a huge step, but it was also just the start of everything. There's so much work that goes into building a lasting career. I realized that I had to stay grounded, stay true to my art, and make decisions that were in line with who I am as an artist, he says. The pressure to live up to the expectations of being the winner of The Voice was not lost on him. It was easy to feel overwhelmed by the industry's demands, the constant need to deliver, and the pressure to quickly follow up with an album. But Sofronio took his time, focusing on developing his sound, honing his craft, and making sure his next steps felt authentic to who he was as an artist. He spent the year collaborating with other musicians, experimenting with different genres, and working on his debut album, which he hopes will capture the depth and emotion that he brought to the Voice stage. His music, he says, is a reflection of his personal journey, a journey marked by love, loss, triumph, and growth. The fans, gratitude, and growth. One of the most rewarding aspects of his victory has been the overwhelming support of his fans. From the moment he won, Sofronio's fanbase grew exponentially. His followers on social media exploded, and his live shows quickly sold out as his popularity soared. His fans, many of whom had been with him since the audition, have been a constant source of motivation. "I'm so thankful for my fans," he says. "They've supported me through every step of this journey, and without them, none of this would be possible. They're not just fans, they're family. I feel like I'm making music for them, and that connection is something I'll never take for granted." As he reflects on his win 1 year later, Sofronio has learned not only about the business of music but about himself. He has grown both as an artist and as a person, and he knows that the journey ahead will be filled with even more lessons, challenges, and moments of growth. Looking ahead, the future is bright. 1 year after winning The Voice, Sofronio Vasquez is more determined than ever to make his mark in the music world. His journey, while still in its early stages, has already been transformative. The experiences of the past year have shaped his understanding of what it means to be a successful artist and have reaffirmed his commitment to creating music that speaks to the hearts of his listeners.